I do know the meaning of losing. It's 0-0 at Goodison Park. Steve Graves, Rob Gutmann, Neil Atkinson. After the Merseyside derby where Liverpool and Everton draw 0-0, Everton and Liverpool draw 0-0. It's funny, Steve, in that I never wanted, in any way, shape or form, a draw at home against Newcastle. Like, it sickened me to my core whilst it was happening in front of me. It was why the winner meant as much as it did. There is still... Newcastle will finish 10, 15, 20 points, maybe even better off than the Blues this season. But there is still a thing about Goodison Park. There is still a thing that when you're there, even though it wasn't particularly vociferous today, it wasn't particularly OTT today, there was none of the obvious sort of bits and pieces today, there is still a thing about going to Goodison where I do feel like it is too dropped. It is too dropped, but simultaneously, I'm just very relieved we didn't get beat.
Yeah, hugely. And when you get that thing of, the thing that VAR gives you is the chance to look down the looking glass of that reality.
Yeah,
and to live in that world for a couple of minutes. And having lived in that world, I can tell you this one's better than the one I was in at that point.
I just sank to my knees.
I know. You were convinced it wasn't getting ruled out as well. You have to factor in it's the derby, all of that, and that's all fine. But Liverpool have had too many missteps already.
Yes.
And needed this not to be one. And given that Everton are a team that's going to struggle to score goals, and we saw that today, they didn't score. And Liverpool's big problem has been side scoring against them first. It's like, well, maybe if we stop, that stops happening, we'll be all right. And then that does stop happening, and Liverpool can't find a way to score themselves, despite all five of their stellar centre forwards or wide forwards being on the pitch at different times in the game. Despite a few near misses and a few opportunities, in that way it reminded me of Newcastle a little bit, in that Liverpool create against Newcastle a couple of amazing chances, but what they don't create is pressure. So they create, the Diaz one is a brilliant move. The one that Elliott puts in, and I'm talking about literally a game before now, but the one that Elliott puts into Nick Pope's hands is a brilliant move, and you go, that's how it should look. But it doesn't look like that throughout the game, and it's like that again today. The Nunez effort followed by the Diaz effort, the Salah one late on, a couple of Firmino chances. Yeah, Liverpool make those happen, but they feel like they just kind of come and go. They don't form part of a kind of body of work of pressure where it's inevitable you must submit to Liverpool, and that feels like just where we're at the minute. But yeah, it feels less horrible than dropping those points against Newcastle would have, even though ultimately the upshot is the same.
The upshot is the same, but it is too dropped, Rob, and we've got to acknowledge that it is too dropped. It's two more dropped in a quest to try to, to match last season's points haul. The point about that was that before this game was played, Liverpool had 33 games left, and to match last season's points haul, they would have had to win 28 of them. They've now lost yet another one of those opportunities to put 3 points on the board, and this Liverpool got to be really careful in this moment, I think, not to have a season that gets away from them.
Yeah, it's hard not to look at it like that. I mean, I looked at the opening fixtures we had and thought, if you're not 100% at it, these are quite hard games. I don't want to go away to Man U and to Everton and to face a newly equipped Newcastle. I don't want to face those kind of teams in the early part of the season. I think we've become... It's weird, really. I feel as a supporter base, we're a bit complacent in that we think Liverpool win every football match. If football was normal and Manchester City didn't exist, this is a frustrating start to a season, but it's entirely redeemable. What have we won? We've won 2 out of 5, 6. 2 out of 6.
So,
but they've been hard. We've played plenty of aways.
You're a nice man.
We've not beaten Fulham, we've not beaten Crystal Palace.
It's not
great in any season.
It's a poor start, but it's entirely redeemable. If I think back to the 80s, I'd have gone, we're not pleased. The natives have been restless, don't get me wrong. But we would have gone, but we can do this. Now there's a feeling that this is absolutely ridiculous to think we can do this. We're all but at the point 6 games in to think this is not a season we can win the league in.
So this is why so he does, first and foremost, I think we're the better side from 38 to 55, and you can stretch out by the better side what Steve said before about like building pressure.
We were really good for a period.
And you can maybe extend that out a little bit, and how much better we are, so it might diminish either side of that period. But this is where, to be fair to the manager, I'm looking at a league table here which says forget where everyone is, that says played 6, won 2, drawn 3, lost 1. he can't do much more not to draw today's game, if you sort of know what I mean. Like, he can certainly, in terms of turning it into a toss of a coin as to whether or not we were going to win it or lose it, we go 4-2-4 at half-time. He throws the